कः किं यत्तत्पदमनुत्तमं लोकबन्धुर्लोकनाथो माधवो भक्तवत्सलः सुवर्णवर्णो हेमाङ्गो वराङ्गश्चन्दनाङ्गदी वीरः विषमशून्यो घृताशीरचलश्चलः अमानीमानदो मान्यो लोकस्वामी त्रिलोकदृक् सुमेधामेधजो धन्यः सत्यमेधाधराधरः तेजो वृषोदितिधरः सर्वशस्त्रभृताम्बरः प्रग्रहो निग्रहो व्यग्रो नैकशृङ्गो गदाग्रजः चतुर्मूर्तिश्चतुर्बाहुश्चतुर्व्यूहश्चतुर्गतिः चतुरात्मा चतुर्भावश्चतुर्वेदविदेकपात् समावर्तो निवृत्तात्मा दुर्जयो दुरतिक्रमः दुर्लभो दुर्गमो दुर्गो दुरावासो दुरारिहा शुभाङ्गो लोकसारङ्गः सुतन्तुस्तन्तुवर्धनः इन्द्रकर्मा महाकर्मा कृतकर्मा कृतागमः उद्भवः सुन्दरः सुन्दो रत्ननाभः सुलोचनः अर्को वाजसनशृङ्गी जयन्तिः सर्वविजयी सुवर्णबिन्दुरक्षोभ्यः सर्ववागीश्वरेश्वरः महारथो महागर्तो महाभूतो महानिधिः कुमुदः कुन्दरः कुन्दः पर्जन्यः पावनो नलः अमृताशोऽमृतवपुः सर्वज्ञः सर्वतोमुखः सुलभः सुव्रतसिद्धशत्रुजिच्छत्रुतापनः न्यग्रोधोदुम्बरोऽश्वत्थश्चाणूरान्द्रनिषूदनः सहस्रार्चिः सप्तजिह्वः सप्तयुधाः सप्तवाहनः अमूर्तिरणघोचिन्त्यो भयकृद्भयनाशनः अणुर्बृहत्कृशस्थूलो गुणनिर्गुणो महान् अधृतस्वधृतस्वास्यः प्राग्वंशो वंशवर्धनः भारभृत्कथितो योगी योगीशः सर्वकामदः आश्रमश्रमणक्षामः सुपर्णो वायुवाहनः धनुर्धरो धनुर्वेदो दण्डो दमयितादमः अपराजितः सर्वसहो नियन्ता नियमो यमः सत्त्ववान् सात्विकः सत्यः सत्यधर्मपरायणः अभिप्रायः प्रियार्होर्हः प्रियकृत्प्रीतिवर्धनः विहाय सगतिर्ज्योतिःसुरजिर्हुतभुग्विभुः रविर्विरोचनः सूर्यः सवितारविलोचनः अनन्तो हुतबुग्भोक्ता सुखदो नैकजोऽग्रजः अनिर्विण्णस्तदामर्षी लोकाधिष्ठानमद्भुतः सनात्सनातनतमः कपिलः कपिरप्ययः स्वस्ति स्वस्तिभुक् स्वस्ति दक्षिणः रौद्रः कुण्डलीचक्री विक्रम्योद्यतशासनः शब्दातिकशब्दः शिशिरः शर्वरीकरः अक्रूरः पेशलो दक्षो दक्षिणः क्षमिणाम्बरः विद्वत्तमो वीतभयपुण्यश्रवणकीर्तनः उत्तारणो दुष्कृतिः पुण्यो दुःस्वप्ननाशनः वीरः रक्षणः सन्तो जीवनः पर्यवस्थितः अनन्तरूपोऽनन्तश्रीर्जितमन्युर्भयापहः चतुरस्रो गभीरात्मा विदिशो व्यादिशो दिशः अनादिर्भूर्भुवो लक्ष्मीस्तु वीरो रुचिराङ्गदः जननो जनजन्मादिर्भीमो भीमपराक्रमः आधारनिलयो धाता पुष्पः सप्रजागरः ऊर्ध्वगः सत्पथाचारः प्राणदः प्रणवः पणः प्रमाणं प्राणनिलयः प्राणभृत्प्राणजीवनः तत्त्वं तत्त्वविदेकात्मा जन्ममृत्युजरातिगः भूर्भुवस्वस्तरुस्तारः सविता प्रपितामहः यज्ञो यज्ञपतिर्यज्वा यज्ञाङ्गो यज्ञवाहनः यज्ञभृद्यज्ञकृत्यग्नी यज्ञभुग्यज्ञसाधनः यज्ञान्तकृत्यज्ञगुह्यमन्नमन्नाद एव च आत्मयोनिस्वयं जातो वैखानः सामगायनः देवकीनन्दनस्रष्टा क्षितीशः पापनाशनः शङ्खबृन्नन्दकी चक्रीशार्ङ्गधन्वागदाधरः तथाङ्गपाणिरक्षोभ्यः सर्वप्रहरणायुध ॐ नम इति वनमाली गदीशार्ङ्गी शङ्की चक्री च नन्दकी श्रीमान्नारायणो विष्णुर्वासुदेवोऽभिरक्षतु वनमाली गदीशार्ङ्गी शङ्की चक्री च नन्दकी श्रीमान्नारायणो विष्णुर्वासुदेवोऽभिरक्षतु वनमाली गदीशार्ङ्गी शङ्की चक्री च नन्दकी श्रीमान्नारायणो विष्णुर्वासुदेवोऽभिरक्षतु वासुदेवोऽभिरक्षत्वं नम इति श्रीराम राम रामेति रमे रामे मनोरमे सहस्रनाम तत्तुल्यं रामनाम वरानने श्रीराम राम रामेति रमे रामे मनोरमे सहस्रनाम तत्तुल्यं रामनाम वरानने श्रीराम राम रामेति रमे रामे मनोरमे सहस्रनाम तत्तुल्यं रामनाम वरानने श्रीरामनाम वरानन ॐ नम इति त्रस्ता विषण्णा शिथिलाश्च भीता घोरेषु च व्याधिषु वर्तमाना सङ्कीर्त्य नारायणशब्दमात्रं विमुक्तदुःखाः सुखिनो भवन्तु कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यद्यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि नारायणायेति समर्पयाम्यों नम इति यदक्षरपदभ्रष्टं मात्राहीनं तु यद्भवेत् तत्सर्वं क्षम्यतां देव नारायण नमोऽस्तु ते अन्यथा शरणं नास्ति त्वमेव शरणं मम तस्मात् कारुण्यभावेन रक्ष रक्ष महाप्रभो ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरिः ॐ तत्सत् श्रीरामकृष्णार्पणमस्तु।
Namaste everyone. Welcome to today's Krishna Janmashtami program. We've just finished the chanting of Vishnu Sahasranam. Today's program will be, Swamiji will be doing the puja till about 10:45. Then the Bala Sangha group have gathered downstairs. They have prepared some bhajans and some stories to share with us. So they'll join us once Swamiji finishes the puja. That will be around 10:45. Then we'll have the kids program going for about 30 minutes. After that, we'll have some more bhajans. Then we'll have a reading of the life of Sri Ramakrishna. Reading of life of Sri Krishna, followed by Aarti, and then we'll conclude with Prasad. We're expecting a few more guests, so we'll be making more announcements around how the program will flow today. We just request all of you as much as possible if you could maintain social distance with the current rules that are going on. Thank you.
Sri Krishna's birth. It was the month of August, the flowering season. Lord Vishnu decided to be born in this world. He chose Devaki and Vasudeva as his parents. Devaki was the sister of Kamsa, a cruel king who made people suffer. One day, Kamsa heard that one of Devaki's children would kill him. So to save himself, he put Devaki and Vasudeva in prison. One by one, he killed their 7 newborn babies in prison, but he failed to do this with the 8th child. This child was Lord Vishnu. He was born at night when the whole city was asleep. Soon after his birth, the baby took the form of the Lord and said to Devaki, "Mother, I am Lord Vishnu. I have chosen you as my mother. I know Kamsa will try to kill me, so let Father take me to Nanda, who is the chief of the Yadavas in Gokula. I will go up there with my brother Balarama." Saying this, the Lord Vishnu took the form of the baby again. Devaki and Vasudeva were very happy with the Lord's darshan and did as they were told. To get out of the prison without being caught by the guards, Vasudeva carried the child to Gokula in a basket kept on his head. Because he was carrying the Lord himself, the prison gates opened by themselves. He found the guards of the prison in deep sleep. Vasudeva came to a large overflowing river. He was not sure how he would be able to cross it, but with strong faith in the Lord, he stepped into the river. The river, as though bowing to the Lord, parted. It created a path for Vasudeva to walk through. As he was crossing halfway, it started to rain heavily. "Oh, my child is getting wet," he said to himself. Suddenly a huge snake rose from the river and covered the basket with its 5-headed hood. At Nanda's house, except for the sound of a baby's gurgle, there was total silence. Vasudeva looked around to see where the baby's laughter was coming from. He saw a beautiful girl happily playing by the side of Yashoda, who was fast asleep. Vasudeva gently lifted his son out of the basket and placed him next to Yashoda. Then he wrapped the baby girl and placed her gently into the basket. Yasudeva rushed out of the house. He was back at Dwarka before sunrise. Since Yashoda had given birth to the baby that night, nobody in Gokula had yet got the news of the birth. The next morning, the people of Gokula celebrated the birth of Yashoda's son. Thus, the 8th child of Devaki was safe in Yashoda's lap. During the child's naming ceremony, the priest blessed Yashoda's son and named him Krishna, as he was blue in color. The priest said, "This is no ordinary child. He is Lord Vishnu himself, who has taken birth to fight evil." Both Yashoda and Nanda were very happy.
Krishna shows himself to Yashoda. One afternoon, Yashoda was busy cooking. Krishna and his friends were playing. Suddenly, Balaram ran to his mother and said, "Mother, Krishna is eating sand." At first, Yashoda didn't believe him. Soon, the other friends too said the same thing. "What is wrong with Krishna? Why is he eating sand? At home, I keep making all kinds of sweets for him," she wondered. Trying not to get angry, she called him and asked, "What is this? I hear you are eating sand. Am I not feeding you enough?" In a pleading voice, Krishna replied, "But mother, I have not eaten any sand. Balaram is telling lies. If you don't believe me, just look into my mouth." Yashoda said, "All right, open your mouth. Let me see." Krishna opened his mouth. Oh, what did Mother Yashoda see? The whole universe. There was a strange light. She saw all the gods. She even saw herself with Krishna sitting on her lap. For a moment, Yashoda went blank. She thought her eyes were playing games with her. She looked again. It was as though she was seeing a movie of this whole universe in his mouth. This frightened her. She was wonderstruck and a little confused too. "Oh Lord, please protect my child," she prayed. She also remembered what the priest had said at Krishna's naming ceremony. This is no ordinary child. He is Lord Vishnu himself, who has taken birth to fight evil and wrongdoers. Yashoda prayed to the Lord to take care of this child. Krishna once again became her loving child. She cuddled him and rocked him. Yashoda decided to treat the whole scene as a dream, and she forgot about it.
Krishna and the fruit seller. One day, Krishna was playing in the courtyard with Balarama and his other friends. They heard a fruit seller shouting, "Jamuns for sale." They stopped playing and rushed to the fruit seller. "These are my favorite fruits, but how do I buy them? I have no money," Krishna said to himself. He looked around. Suddenly, his eyes spotted a heap of grains nearby. He picked up a handful and went to the fruit seller. By the time he reached the fruit seller, his hands were only half full. As much as of it had spilled along the way. Holding out the remaining grains to the fruit seller, Krishna said, "Lady, please give me some fruits in exchange for these grains." Feeling sorry, for he only had a small amount left, Krishna said, "I picked up a handful, but on the way most of it dropped. This is all I have." The fruit seller was pleased with the little boy's simplicity and honesty. His smile and tinkling anklets melted her heart. She was so pleased with him that she said, "My child, you do not have to give me any grains with you. Keep those grains with you and take as many jamuns as you want." Krishna's eyes almost popped out with excitement. "Thank you so much," he said quickly. He dropped whatever grains in his hand into her basket and opened his hand to receive the fruits. The fruit seller filled Krishna's cute palms with as many jamuns as they could hold. She was so happy with the little boy that she was not interested in selling any more fruits for the day. She packed up and returned home early. She was emptying her basket and she could not believe her eyes. The grains that Krishna dropped into the basket turned into gold. "Oh, Lord himself came in person to bless me. I am so lucky," she thought. This was Krishna's way of showing that anyone who offered him anything with love and affection would be blessed with lots of happiness.
Krishna and Sudama. Krishna and Sudama were childhood friends. They studied in the same Gurukula and spent a lot of time together. After completing their studies, they both went back to their own families. Sudama married a humble girl called Sushila. They had many children. They were so poor that Sudama's friends teased him and called him Kuchila, the one who wears torn clothes. Sushila felt very sad. She suggested to her husband that he should ask Krishna, his friend, for help. Sudama liked the idea of meeting his old friend after many years, but he decided not to ask Krishna for anything. Sudama told Sushila, "All right, I will go. It'll be wonderful to see my friend after all these years. But how can I go empty-handed? Can you give me something to take as a gift to Sri Krishna?" Sushila said, "All I have is some beaten rice. I'll tie some in a cloth for your friend." On his way to Dwaraka, Sudama kept thinking of Krishna and how they became such dear friends.
When Sudama entered the palace, Krishna ran forward and hugged his friend. They both talked for hours and hours about their wonderful time at the Gurukula. Sudama told his friend that now he has a family and many children. He could not bring himself to ask Krishna for anything. But Krishna, the Lord, knew Sudama's reason for coming, so he decided to reward his friend with plenty of wealth. Sudama, what did you bring for me? He asked. Sudama was shy to give his friend the small bundle that he had brought, but Krishna noticed Sudama holding it and cried out, "Oh, you have bought my favorite beaten rice." He opened the bundle and ate a mouthful. This is great. The rice tastes so good. It reminds me of our days our days together in the Gokula, said Krishna. That night, Sudama slept in the palace without any worries. The next morning, Sudama took his time in wishing Krishna goodbye. He found it painful to part with his dear friend. It was only a while he was walking towards his home that he had remembered Sushila's words, and he realized that he had not asked Krishna for anything. But he was very happy that he could have a darshan of Krishna, his old friend, again. As Sudama was nearing his house, he stood still. He was stunned. The thatched roof hut was not there anymore. In its place was a mansion. A woman dressed beautifully with heavy jewelry rushed out to greet Sudama. He could not recognize his wife, Sushila, and his children. His family was all dressed grandly. "My dear husband, we got up this morning and found ourselves inside this mansion," she exclaimed. Sudama looked at his family and smiled and said to himself, "This must be the work of Lord Krishna. He knew what I wanted, even though I did not ask him." Sushila said, "Lord, your faith in Krishna has blessed us. Let us spend the rest of our lives in devotion to the God."
Namaskar everyone. Today, on the occasion of Sri Krishna Janmashtami, I will be sharing my perspective of some of the important values that Sri Krishna teaches us. Mindfulness. Lord Krishna teaches us to always live in the present moment. Even though, being an avatar of Lord Vishnu, he knew what would happen in the coming future, he always lived in the present moment. Mindfulness is all about living in the present moment and being aware of it and its value, instead of dwelling on what has already happened in the past or might happen in the future. Sacrifice. Lord Krishna asked Bhim to call upon his son Ghatotkach in the battle of Kurukshetra. It was not to annihilate the Kaurav army, but to force Karna to use the Indrastra, a weapon that one cannot escape alive from. He did this to ensure that Arjuna, who was the key to winning the war, would stay alive. Thus, by sacrificing one brilliant warrior, he ensured the victory of the Pandavas. Krishna's example teaches me that we must sacrifice many things to achieve success. There cannot be any significant process without sacrifice. Lord Krishna teaches me that if you are not willing to sacrifice your comfort zone, pride, ego, time, money, or security into something that you truly believe in, you will never be able to achieve your highest level of success. Humbleness and modesty. Even though Krishna was the king of the splendid Dwaraka and the god of all creation, he was still humble and always showed tremendous respect to his elders, whether they were his parents or his teachers. He was always eager to give pleasure to them. Because of this, people were always willing to help him wherever he went. Being humble or modest is one of the most important characteristics of personality. Lord Krishna's example teaches me to be humble in life. It helps to cultivate genuine relationships with honest people. Be modest enough to give people more reasons to be happy in their life. Everything happens for a reason. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna said that everything happens for a cause or a good reason. Whatever happens in life, even though it may not seem like it is for good, and there is always a cause or a reason behind it. He also mentioned that we are all children of God, the one Creator. God is supreme power and this world is governed by Him. And since we are all God's children, nothing evil can happen to us. Lord Krishna's example has taught me that it is best not to cry over things that have happened or over things that we do not have control of. It is best to let go and accept things. Thank you for your time today, and I hope you enjoyed the rest of the function. Jai Sri Krishna. Govinda Krishna Jai, Gopala Krishna Jai. 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 Krishna 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 Jai, Krishna 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 Jai. Govinda Krishna Jai, Gopala 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 Krishna Jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama,
जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी 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 जय गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गिरिवर धारी जय राधा माधव जय